On the news, a New Year message, President Tinubu assures commitment to deepen reforms, address high food and drugs costs, among others, in 2025. Defense Headquarters assures Bello Turji and other terrorists threatening Nigerians will be defeated in 2025. Nigeria submits extradition requirements for Simon Ekpa to Finnish government. Thank you for joining us on News Now on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Simisola Atiku. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has solicited the support and cooperation of citizens, just as he vowed that his government has worked to improve Nigeria's economic outlook. In his New Year message on Wednesday, January 1, 2025, Tinubu said the cost of food, drugs, and other essentials remained a significant concern for many Nigerian households in 2024, assuring that his administration will work to lower the cost of local manufacturing to make them easily accessible to Nigerians. The president vowed that in the new year, his government is committed to intensifying efforts to lower these costs by boosting food production and promoting local manufacturing of essential drugs and other medical supplies. The president equally said the youth confab would begin in the first quarter of 2025, a move he says is a testament to his administration's commitment to youth inclusiveness and investment as nation builders. The past year has been described by Nigerians as one of the most difficult and challenging in the history of the nation amid the harsh economic realities. As the country faces numerous challenges, including insurgency, banditry, and kidnapping, Nigerians are hopeful that 2025 will bring about a significant improvement, particularly in the areas of economy and security. They call for good governance in terms of transparent, accountable, and effective leadership that prioritizes the welfare of citizens, tackles corruption, and ensures the rule of law.
2025, our president, Tinubu, he should give us what they call utility of life, like lights, good roads, and food. If he can give us that thing, 2027 is all right for him.
What I expect the government to do is to first increase is to first reduce the level of inflation. It's high, it's maddening. It's not really encouraging at all. So government should reduce the level of inflation, high level of prices, skyrocketing prices. You bought something today, by the time you come back next week, it has really go up again, and it's really affecting everywhere.
As a nation as a whole, one, security, second, food production, thirdly, standard education. The reason why I'm saying this is that, one, our government, both federal government and the state government, they've turned all the government establishment schools into like private establishments. Some of them are paying high. When we are in school, we are paying less than 1,000 naira, 2,000 naira to the federal government schools. Even the state government schools, they are paying less than 5,000, 10,000 naira. But today, some state government are paying as high as 250,000 naira, which is too exorbitant to the low income earners.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian government says it has formally submitted the necessary requirement to the government of Finland for the extradition of Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. This was disclosed by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, in a televised interview on Tuesday. Back in November 2024, authorities in Finland had arrested Ekpa along with 4 others on suspicion of involvement in terror-related activities, including incitement to violence and financing terrorism. The separatist leader is accused of using social media to promote separatist propaganda and violently advocating for the secession of the southeastern region. Meanwhile, the defense headquarters has described the notorious bandit and terrorist leader Bello Turji as a dead man walking whose lifespan doesn't exceed 2025. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, revealed this in Abuja while reacting to a recent viral video where Turji, who operates in Zamfara State, challenged the military to a fight. General Buba vowed that Turji would be eliminated just like other commanders before him. He said troops had sustained pressure on the terrorist enclaves, hideouts and strongholds as an incentive to speedily defeat the terrorists and hastily end the war.
Troops eliminated over 1,000 notable terrorist leaders, as well as their replacements. We eliminated also their commanders and combatants, among others. We also assure that similar fates await those parading themselves as terror leaders and commanders today. Persons like Bello Turji, take it from me, is merely a dead man walking, as he will soon follow suit with many others that have been eliminated during the course of the year. And he's saying contrary things to what we are saying. These are people that don't have integrity. These are people that kill innocent citizens. These are people that don't have respect for law or regulation. It will be insulting to try to put our words beside theirs. It will be insulting to do that. And I will say that, please, don't give in to terrorist propaganda. Don't give in to terrorist propaganda. If things have happened with that bombing that took place in the Northwest on the Christmas Day, and you are hearing different words going out, you think that the terrorists will be happy that we bombed them? They will, of course, put up a propaganda. Don't feed into their propaganda, please. We have to be circumspect. All right. I have said it and I'll repeat it. I don't even want to call his name. But what I will say is that, look, there's nothing new. Before him, all these terrorist leaders that we are seeing today, before them, there were some that thought that they were champion upon champion. Where are they? They are buried. They are dead. And I assure you that those of them that are leaders today, commanders or whatever they call themselves, just watch out. I will, from this platform, tell you we have buried them on the battlefield. Because that is their fate in 2025. They are dead men walking.
Residents of Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, are still reeling from the effects of the devastating floods that swept through the region, leaving widespread destruction and displacing thousands of residents. Experts and local authorities are now focusing on recovery and long-term solutions to prevent future disasters. In response to the crisis, government agencies, non-governmental organizations, and community organizations have ramped up efforts to provide emergency relief, including food, water, and temporary shelter. TV360's correspondent Solomon Josiah files the report.
The recent flooding in Maiduguri has caused extensive damage, with thousands of homes destroyed and vast stretches of farmland submerged. Over 1 million people have been affected and thousands have been displaced. The floods have also led to loss of lives and the destruction of essential public infrastructure. One of the flood victims shared a deeply emotional account describing the extensive damage the flood has caused to his life.
The flood has been devastating for my family and me. Our home has been severely affected with significant damage to our belongings, which was emotionally challenging. We had to sleep for 2 nights on top of the roof, and we thank God that we made it.
Speaking further, environmental experts advocate improved drainage system, urban planning reforms, and community resilience programs to mitigate the impact of such disaster in the future.
Really took Maiduguri back by more than 10-20 years. It will take about, to my own understanding, more than 2-3 decades to fully recover to its position. And you know, it has affected almost all the stratas, especially economic aspect of the society. People lost their property, businesses.
Speaking further, security authorities emphasize on the urgent need for proactive measures and strategic modalities to ensure that victims can rebuild their lives and regain normalcy.
Once there is security presence, it attracts the members of the public and community people to come around to have their social activities. So as of now, I cannot pinpoint any particular area to say it is more dangerous because crime is unpredicted. And especially when it comes to counterinsurgency, these are things that you cannot predict, but we are trying our best to see that we place every security measures to any threats that we may perceive.
Many are calling for long-term solutions such as construction of flood-resistant housing and the establishment of disaster preparedness programs. Experts also emphasize the need for collaboration between the government, private sector, and the community to prevent future floods and secure a safer future for Maiduguri residents.
Still in Borno State, the Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Yusuf, has confirmed the arrest of over 700 suspects linked to various crimes, including theft, vandalism of public property, sexual assault, and aiding Boko Haram insurgents by distributing food items to them. The Commissioner revealed this during a press briefing at the command headquarters in Maiduguri on Tuesday. Yusuf attributed the success of these arrests to the command's strategic and collaborative efforts to curb criminal activities in the state. The Commissioner reassured residents of the command's commitment to working closely with the community to ensure a safer and more secure environment in the new year.
For the year ending, the command has recorded 721 cases in offenses comprising armed robbery, sexual and gender-based violence, kidnapping, theft, and other heinous crime, and also other related drug offenses and theft of motor vehicles and keke napep tricycle. Now, the crime data analysis for the year ending is as follows. Cases of culpable homicide, 65 cases were reported, 140 suspects arrested, 41 suspects charged to court, while 24 suspects, their case file has been duplicated and sent to the DPP for legal advice. The 10-year strategic plan has envisioned by the state government clearly spelled out the objective of the Borno state government under the pragmatic leadership of His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, that by 2027 there will not be IDP in the state and all displaced persons will be returned back to their ancestral home. Now the command has to prepare, as these areas are now being cleared and becoming safer, there is need to have on ground civil authority. And the Nigerian Police Force is the lead agency when it comes to internal security. So our projection for 2025 is how do we key in to this grand Borno restoration. To key into that one, we have to align with the transitional justice system by enhancing police presence in such communities where displaced persons have returned and ensure that there is community participation in terms of our policing priority, as well as protection and promotion of human rights.
We'll take a short break here. Still to come on News Now, Ivory Coast asks French troops to leave the country, the latest African nation to do so. We'll bring details when the news returns. Welcome back. Let's take you through our major stories. Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu has promised to boost food and drug production in 2025, stressing that his government has worked to improve Nigeria's economic outlook. In his New Year message on Wednesday, January 1, 2025, Tinubu said the cost of food and essential drugs remained a significant concern for many Nigerian households back in 2024, assuring that his administration will work to lower the cost of local production to make them easily accessible to citizens. We also informed you that the Nigerian government says it has formally submitted the necessary requirements to the government of Finland for the extradition of Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. This was disclosed by the Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa in a televised interview on Tuesday. Back in November 2024, authorities in Finland had arrested Ekpa along with 4 others on suspicion of involvement in terror-related activities, including incitement to violence and financing terrorism. Now, in case you missed any of our news bulletins and for more updates, you can catch us on Limex World TV and AVO TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery and Apple Store, on Facebook or at TV360 online. Nigeria's economy in 2024 faced numerous challenges stemming from previous economic reforms, high inflation, the lingering impact of the fuel subsidy removal, and FX volatility. These challenges contributed to a slow economic recovery, reduced purchasing power, and stagnation in key sectors. In this report, TV360's Okwayemi Owoshede report on major economic trends and issues that shaped Nigeria's business sector in 2024.
As the global economy continues to adjust to ongoing geopolitical tensions, economic growth has slowed and inflation has remained stubbornly high across both advanced and emerging economies. In Nigeria, the nation's gross domestic product growth in 2024 stood at an estimated 3.46%, which is a slight improvement compared to 2023, but still far from the robust growth needed to address the country's pressing issues. The economic struggles were compounded by a series of key internal factors, including the continued ramifications of the removal of the fuel subsidy, FX volatility, and the persistent high inflation, among other factors. The price of fuel, which spiked shortly after the subsidy removal in 2023, remained high throughout the year, causing a ripple effect across all sectors. While the commencement of operations at the Dangote refinery offered some hope, it did not significantly ease the pressure on fuel prices. Consequently, inflation remained persistently high, with food inflation in particular reaching 34.6% in November 2024, further burdening Nigerian households. The rising cost of living and stagnant wages resulted in widespread economic hardship for many, especially lower-income Nigerians who found it increasingly difficult to afford basic goods and services.
I've never tasted turkey of Titus fish. I use pomo and ejegu. Before I reject that people who eat pomo or ejegu. I don't ever eat pomo before and ejegu. Maybe I just wish. Now my best pot of soup now is pomo and ejegu.
It really affects us because with them, as you see my shop, I used to fill my shop. If you like 2 million naira, you fill the whole shop. But now, if you 10 million naira, you not use 10 million to buy anything.
Sometimes I'll have to leave my car at home because fueling the car is more expensive for me. So when I'm necessarily going for a meeting or I have important outing to do, I'll go with my car. But publicly, using the public car, it's always stressful, and now the cost of transportation is high now.
They should send the fuel normal. You should be seeing fuel normal. Queue like this is too much for us. The stress is too much for us. Let the government to, maybe the fuel want to come down, let us know. If the fuel want to increase, let know.
The CBN's effort to control inflation included raising the monetary policy rate 6 consecutive times this year. Yet experts argue that these hikes have not been effective in curbing inflation.
What's driving the inflation is not demand pull. It's not excess money supply. So if it was excess money supply alone, then all of the hikes that we've experienced for almost 2 years would have abated inflation as it has in other parts of the world. The problem is that we also have cost push that is driven by some monetary policy and some fiscal issues, security concerns, food security problems, logistics and transportation issues, and so on and so forth. The cost of petrol, subsidy removal, all of that combined is actually what is driving inflation. So hiking rates alone cannot do it.
In June 2024, the Central Bank of Nigeria directed banks to remove the cap on the investors and exporters window of the forex market to allow for the free float of the Nigeria exchange rate. While this was seen as a positive move to stabilize the currency, the naira has remained volatile, currently trading at over 1,500 naira to the US dollar.
The fundamental issue of why the naira was where it was before the floating is liquidity. Has liquidity improved? Yes, it has improved, but not incommensurate to demands. In terms of demand and supply, demand is still very high, supply is still very low.
In the first quarter of 2024, Nigeria's public debt reached 121.67 trillion naira, marking a 24.99% increase from the previous quarter. As of March 2024, Nigeria owed significant amounts of foreign creditors, including $5.05 billion to China, $652.07 million to France, and $125.62 million to Germany. Despite this, the Nigerian government has outlined a budget deficit of 13.0 trillion naira for 2025, which experts have described as a big problem.
For 2024, we borrowed 2 billion. For 2024, this is outside the 2025 budget. We're also going to keep on borrowing in this year's budget in dollars and naira. So this creates a huge strain on the resources of the economy. Look at it this way: if we meet 100% of the revenue target in 2025, all that money, all that revenue goes to just 2 sources: to repay the debt and to pay salaries. That's in 2025.
Nigeria's business environment has been marred by a worrying trend in recent years, as both multinationals and local enterprises have been forced to either shut down or relocate their operations. Most of them cite harsh economic conditions, unpredictable currency fluctuations, and soaring operational costs as key factors driving their decisions, a development that has been described as worrisome by the organized private sector.
When you look at what the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics said about job, you think we are creating more jobs in the Nigerian economy. We have not created any more jobs in the Nigerian economy. That's the truth. So the job losses, also not attracting foreign direct investment into Nigeria. So that is a huge challenge. And so you have to ask yourself, why are these companies leaving? Number one, high cost of production. Because again, and that is largely driven by some of the material they use, they have to import it into this country, and then they need FX, and FX was not available, and the rate when it's available is very high, and the consumer also that will be able to consume some of these their goods that they are bringing into Nigeria, and the earning power of those Nigerians were low because rate was going high, earnings was still where it was, so they were not making profit like they used to make profit. So definitely they have to make a choice, and most of the choices they made was to exit this country. So what we need to do to attract and to create those jobs is to look at those factors that are making them leave this country and begin to see how we can address those factors.
Despite the economic turmoil in 2024, experts believe that the Nigerian economy could improve in 2025 if strategic steps are taken.
Dangote is also, if he can get the crude oil he needs to refine and export byproducts, we're going to have a new revenue line in Nigeria, which is going to be the export of byproducts. Remember that for almost 22 decades, we've not had NNPC refineries working, so no exports of byproducts. We've had Eleme, but not in the scale that Dangote is doing with the petrochemicals and the fertilizer. So imagine if Dangote is working at maybe half or three-quarter capacity. That's a new dollar revenue line coming in that I'm sure even the budget has not taken into account. So that's a big positive right there.
As Nigeria looks to 2025, the proposed budget offers hope for significant allocations. President Tinubu's ambitious plan projects a reduction in inflation to 15% and an improvement in the exchange rate. With the right policies and implementation of people-friendly reforms, experts believe Nigeria can overcome its current challenges and secure a more prosperous future. Okpeyemi Owosheni, TV360 News, Lagos.
Still on business, President Bola Tinubu has vowed to deepen credit access for citizens and critical sectors of the economy in his bid to boost national economic output. In his New Year message to Nigerians on Wednesday, January 1, 2025, the president said to achieve the feat, the federal government will establish the National Credit Guarantee Company to expand risk-sharing instruments for financial institutions and enterprises. An initiative, he says, would strengthen the confidence of the financial system, expand credit access and support underserved groups such as women and youth. The president also acknowledged persistent inflation and rising costs of essentials, vowing to intensify efforts to reduce inflation rate from 34.6% to 15% through reforms aimed at boosting food production and encouraging local manufacturing. On foreign scene, Ivory Coast has announced that French troops will leave the country after a decades-long military presence, the latest African nation to downscale military ties with its former colonial power. France has had up to 600 troops in Ivory Coast. Ivorian President Alassane Ouattara said the pullout would begin in January 2025. Ouattara's announcement follows that of other leaders across West Africa, where France's militaries are being asked to leave. France has suffered similar setbacks in several West African countries in recent years, including Chad, Niger Republic and Burkina Faso, where French troops that had been on the ground for many years have been kicked out. And South Korean investigators probing the Jeju air crash that killed 179 people in the worst aviation disaster on its soil says they will send one of the retrieved black boxes to the United States for analysis. The plane was carrying 181 people from Thailand when it issued a mayday call and barely landed before hitting a barrier and bursting into flames, killing everyone aboard except 2 flight attendants who pulled out from the burning wreckage. South Korean and U.S. investigators, including from Boeing, have been combing the crash site in southwestern Muan since the disaster on Sunday. And on sports, following the Eagles B qualification for the African Nations Championship CHAN 2025, Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, has restated the Commission's commitment towards the sports economy with the domestic league as one of the major vehicles to drive the process. Diko, who tipped 10 million naira to the team for defeating Ghana 3-1 in Uyo on Saturday to secure the ticket, charged the CHAN Eagles to take the form to their various clubs and make the league more exciting. He enjoined the Nigeria Football Federation to ensure immediate campaign and preparation of the boys, whilst promising that the NSC would engage with the NFF to ensure that everything needed to ensure the success of the team will be done accordingly. On News Now, many thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.